The absolute first place you need to start is in your brain. Not to be a total self-help nerd, but if you believe you can't do it, you will not do it. And my entire understanding is like, if the person next to me can do it, I can do it.
So tell me this, when did you get into commercial real estate? And what were you doing music immediately before you got in?
I got into commercial about 7 years ago. There was a bit of an overlap with the music career, but it was more of a transition. And then when COVID hit, it was the music career ended. And then I had like this need for a creative outlet. And I just went headfirst into TikTok, and really any other platform that I found made it easier to get as many, I'm always chasing the algorithm. Where can we find the best views? You can't get too comfortable because today is not tomorrow. And who knows what it's gonna look like a week from today. But just obsessing over learning the algorithms and ultimately what will bring the highest return for the least amount of work, to be entirely honest with you.
Had you, and I want to get into this, but I always like to ask some background questions first before I like to get to know people. When it as related to music, do you feel like there was an advantage from the musical background, especially over to TikTok? Because TikTok really exploded with music. I mean, think about all the artists that really exploded their careers as a result of TikTok. And you say, as of COVID, music was a retreat, but why didn't you look at it as an opportunity to go all in on TikTok there? I mean, granted, I'm sure you're glad that you did, but.
Sure. I had heard rumblings that TikTok was going to be the next thing. Like everybody in the music industry was saying it. This is even before the pandemic. People were talking, and it was TikTok. And it was so many of the right people telling me that it was an absolute no-brainer. You have to look at the history of these platforms. MySpace, hot until Facebook came in. Then Facebook was hot, MySpace died. So we have to look at the history of these apps and realize that Instagram is not going to be the coolest app ever. It already is fading out. And I have like a hard time with some folks my age being like, guys, like Instagram is not where the party is. Let's go to TikTok, but there's still, that doesn't mean to not post on Instagram. There's still a lot of opportunity on a lot of the various apps. I am skating around your question about how did I get into commercial real estate? And I wish I had this, my cat just had a moment there. I do come from a family who works in commercial real estate. I wish I had this awesome story that I had this, a vision. I didn't have a vision. I grew up with this, but I would just, and that's a very common story in commercial real estate is this generational situation. But I think the internet is currently changing that and going to change it. And I want to help people all over the country and the world learn commercial real estate because it's been so gate kept pretty much for its entire existence.
Yeah. Old boys club, right?
Literally.
Mm-hmm. You're changing.
That's okay. Yeah, it's okay. But the internet is an amazing facilitator of change. And I think a lot of industries have a red dot on their foreheads. Yeah. So.
I love it. Well, Tristan, welcome. I don't want to hijack this, so I'm going to let you to jump in and say hi.
What's up, Aviva? How are you?
Great. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too. Thanks for doing this with us.
Yeah, I've been big fans of your show. I've consumed your content for years. So it's
I asked her to say that before we started.
That's right. I got the memo. And I've consumed your content, Aviva, so I appreciate what you do. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So Tristan, all we've touched on is her background. She's from Denver. She's from Colorado. She's, what kind of her upbringing you kind of caught on. So it's time to dive into the strategy and the TikTok. So I'll let you fire away, Tristan.
All right. First question. For people looking into what you've achieved, it's sometimes difficult to look at and say, well, I can do that. for some people, it's like, I can't do that. Where would somebody start to at least get the consistency to get something going? Because when you started, you also, besides being consistent, you also had the timing of coming in when it was growing, right? And you did such a great job. So I'm not going to take anything away from you. But where would somebody start right now so that they can get going?
Sure. The absolute first place you need to start is in your brain. Not to be a total self-help nerd, but if you believe you can't do it, you will not do it. And my entire understanding is like, if the person next to me can do it, I can do it. And having that confidence and understanding with myself, then all I have to do is just go make it happen, because I'm not, it's all about the mindset, and we're not different. Okay, we might have been brought up with different circumstances, and we might have different circumstances that make something easier or harder. Regardless, anybody can do it, and it starts with your mindset. The second thing that you would do is head on over to YouTube University, and you're going to Google, or you're going to YouTube, which is the same thing, TikTok algorithm August 2022. And then you're going to learn the TikTok algorithm. And what you're going to notice when you're learning this algorithm is that all the videos are the same. And there's one thing that really, we'll say there's two things that really matters. The first thing, the easy thing that really matters is just doing it. Literally just doing it, testing it, putting in the work. Everybody will say, it's so hard to edit TikTok. Yeah, if you haven't edited a TikTok before, it is hard. But when you edit 200, it becomes easier. Mm-hmm. And then the second thing, and this is the nugget, and it applies to not only TikTok, but it applies to all social media platforms. Every platform wants the viewer to stay as long as possible on the platform. So if you're creating content, LinkedIn, for example, if you have a post on LinkedIn that is keeping viewers on that post for a longer time, that metric is accounted for. Like the amount of time that we think it's just a scroll, but every step we do is accounted for and added to a data set with these social media platforms. And the reality is that the most important metric for any platform right now is watch time. If you can keep the viewers watching you, engaging with you, watching again, you will do well. And watch time, there's no viral okay, there are viral formulas, you can say things to make people mad and make them argue in your comments, but ultimately you find a niche, you find something you want to talk about, right? If I didn't like talking about commercial real estate, this would not be a long-term play, but I like what I do, so I'm here to talk about it. If you like what you talk about, then you need to figure out a way to keep your viewers engaged for as long as possible. So that was a little bit of a rant, but number one, you have to change your mindset to understand that you can do whatever you want to do. And then number two is you need to educate yourself on how algorithms work at the current time.